Churches are seen as holy places, where no violence of any kind would be tolerated. However, today we break these unwritten rules, as the church becomes the vocal point of our survival, but also gets blown to shit. God would not approve, but oh well, let's not let Jesus take the wheel. Welcome back to Can You Beat Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare as a pacifist? Now of course we have already discovered that you cannot beat Call of Duty Modern Warfare as a pacifist. However, I am still going through the missions, pitching up with hell as I attempt everything in my power to not kill anyone. Kinda same as my real life, not gonna lie. But anyway, on with the show. We return to Soup, Price and the gang in modern day, inside the village they found and killed Commander al-Assad at. We are apparently having to hold off an attack from enemy forces coming into the village from down the hills. This reminds me of that one time I pushed a guy in a wheelchair down a massive hill in self-defense, as I thought the banana he was holding was something else. Just kidding, it was actually a girl. You might be thinking to yourself, wow, what a cool guy, he is so hip and emo, doing such dark pranks, he must be so popular. And I am, thank you for noticing. Luckily these enemies have nothing to fear, as today I am continuing my practice of pacifism. I am as committed to getting this challenge done as I was with getting a girlfriend. Sadly neither of those will ever be successful. Nevertheless I keep trying, which some people may find kind of creepy, but I find admirable. Anyway, I also keep going with the challenge too. We are stationed at the top of the hill, behind some fencing and barbed wire, alongside the other members of the squad. Suddenly explosions go off, however seem to kill absolutely fucking no one. I know, I can't exactly talk with me being a pacifist and all that, but you could have at least made a bit more use of those, man. Anyway, my plan was to wait for the rest of my team to kill however many enemies was necessary for us to move on. I did in fact try to provide some support, which was mostly moral, but also by throwing my few stun grenades at the enemies, which had about as much of a good effect on them as a salad from McDonald's has on a fat person. It did absolutely fucking nothing. Sorry, let me use the correct terminology. A morbidly obese person. I realised that laying behind those few wooden boards was not actually that effective of a cover, which was more than unexpected, not gonna lie. Rockets could easily hit me or fly just next to me, and I was shot more than not. And so I decided to retreat into the church behind us, and watched over the battle from the tower. I spent the next 15 or so minutes up here, seeing if my team's attacks actually did anything. But clearly I was wrong. Just like how I was wrong when I thought I could actually make funny jokes. Like most missions, this part was so bloody boring. Sitting up here waiting for something to trigger the mission to move on. At least I got to watch some pretty lights. This recording ended up being in 2 parts, because of how fed up I was at the whole challenge by this point. And so most of the time sitting up in the tower, I was on my phone, playing Raid Shadow Legends. Nah, just kidding, I'm not big enough for that yet. This was so excruciating, sitting up here. It felt like hours went by, but it was only a few mere minutes. Watching paint dry probably would have been even more boring. However, that expression is used quite commonly, and so I'm going to use it too. In the end I realised that this mission was similar to that of the AC-130 mission a few episodes ago, where the enemies are required to be killed by me, or else the mission will just not progress. However, I did find out something very interesting. The reflections on the scopes of sniper rifles change depending on the room of the house you are in, rather than being a smooth transition. Wow, how fascinating. Anyway, I decided to light up the battlefield. We end up having to kill another 9 enemies until they deployed smoke grenades and forced us to fall further back into the village. We are ordered onto the minigun in the crashed helicopter and witness the destruction of the holy church we once came to know. At this point you are expected to defend against the attacking enemy forces using the minigun. However, I hoped that my team would just do the killing for me, so I would not have to have any impact on their deaths. But this part seemed to be the exact same as the previous. Only I could actually kill them in order for the mission to progress. And so after a few minutes of trying not to die, however dying anyway, I went on to kill yet another 9 enemies before some hostile helicopters came in from above and we have to retreat further into the village. At the house just up the road, C4 detonators are stationed at the windows, ready for us to blow the enemies to smithereens. We cannot move on from this point until all the C4 has been used, and so what we need to do is wait until the minimum amount of enemies are inside the blast radiuses of the explosives before blowing them up. With the first explosion, there seemed to be no one actually within the death zones, and so we blew them up with seemingly no casualties. However, the next couple explosions were more complicated. This is because the majority of the enemies would stay around their groups of C4, waiting for them to explode. I tried to wait for everyone to disperse, however, even if they are killed by my team, they will just keep respawning and returning to the same positions. Counting this shit is gonna be hard. The second explosion I'm pretty confident killed 2 people, one standing up just by the trees and the other running into the opposite direction. The third I think killed 6 people, that's all I could count anyway. And the final explosion, which was much harder than the others, as it seemed to have the most enemy movement, killed only 1 enemy, which was the most unlikely of the outcomes, as the whole time I was waiting there was always at least 5 people here. However, waiting long enough gave us a lucky opportunity. However, enemies still kept coming, and so we retreated even further, back into the barn, where we picked up yet another rocket launcher. We are again expected to blow up some more enemy tanks, similar to episode 2. This was also inevitable, as the tanks would just not respect our goal of being pacifists, and our team did shit all against them, as always. Therefore we expected to destroy not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 4 enemy tanks. This means that we need to add another 10 enemy kills to our total, 2.5 for each tank. If you didn't catch episode 2 of Pacifist Modern Warfare, then we determined that there are between 1 and 4 enemies inside these tanks, and therefore we went in the middle with 2.5. Finally, we have to make our way right back to the bottom of the hill again, all while being absolutely bombarded by enemy fire. There were more enemies here than girls that have ever had a crush on me, so basically more than 0. This section was basically just trial and error, running and or crawling across the field until I got back onto the road, and then running straight past every single enemy and getting back to the extraction point before you could even say number 1 victory royale. This section was still bloody awful though, dying literally every 10 seconds and restarting from the exact same point over and over again, until one try I just was able to manage to get past all the enemies, coming so fucking close to death multiple times and getting to the bottom of the map while still over 3 of the originally given 4 minutes remaining. I was also so confused as to why Griggs and the rest of the Marines were completely purple for a second, and worried that my eyes had just for some reason developed colour blindness, until I realised I had actually accidentally turned on the colourblind filter in the settings. I guess purple is the new black anyway. Next episode we continue with Soup, Price and the gang when they attempt to locate and chase down Imran Zakayev's son in order to retrieve information of his whereabouts. That next mission also includes the most pain I have ever experienced in a video game. Ever. But I'll save that for next time. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe, as it is free and I promise you will not regret it. Also check out my previous video, my 100 subscriber special, if you haven't already, or watch it again even if you have. Thank you all again, and I hope to see you all next time. Goodbye for now.